Why have you got your hood on?
I'm isolating, mate.
Yeah, but why have you got your hood on?
Ah.
The merch.
What's happening, geezer?
How are we, Edward?
Bored. A little bit down in the dumps, to be honest with you. I mean, trying to get back to work.
So, how much work are you actually doing?
Bits and pieces, really. Popped to the office a couple of times last week just to do a few bits and pick up a few things that I needed to pick up, but just at home now. Lots of dog walking. Planning really for what's going to happen. The problem is we just don't know the timescale. You know, we'll make an announcement today on our May shows, which obviously you've probably guessed by now won't be taking place. Details about refunds and new dates for those. But yeah, I just, you know, I'm hoping that we can see boxing back in June. I'm hoping, and I'm confident we'll see it back in July. But again, what do I know?
So, as in regards to your shows with Dylan White and Povetkin and Usyk and Chisora, are we assuming they're going to be moved to the summer?
Yeah, we're going to make an official announcement probably in the next, hour or so. We spoke to the British Boxing Board of Control today, and you're not going to see any boxing in May in the UK from anybody. So that's it, really. Just getting the new dates in place and seeing what's possible, what's not possible. We've got rescheduling dates for basically all the shows. We're just waiting on one for Usyk Chisora, and you know, it's just going to be interesting to see what happens in terms of dates. Like I say, we all hope. You know, there's people talking about doing events behind closed doors. Definitely something we'll look at. I was just a UFC going ahead with Khabib.
I wouldn't have thought so. That was meant to be when, April
18, but I'm pretty sure they announced they were going to go ahead with it.
What, behind closed doors?
WrestleMania, huh?
Yeah, but that's behind closed doors, isn't it?
Yeah, no, both events behind closed doors.
Mm.
I mean, listen, the pay-per-view numbers right now would be absolutely monstrous. Monstrous. Imagine live sport right now. What we would give for some live sport. I mean, even forget boxing, anything.
So
people saying in here that the Khabib fight's on.
So have you like sort of gone through the possibility of putting those two May shows behind closed doors?
No, because I don't believe the board. Well, they won't. The board will make their own announcement today regarding May shows, which basically there won't be any.
Okay, so you can't be 100% confident that the shows will go ahead in June either, then, can you really?
No, the only thing we've got scheduled for June at the moment is June 27th in Newcastle, and June 20, which obviously is Anthony Joshua, but hasn't been officially announced on sale yet or anything like that. So that's likely to move back to the end of July as well. But the only event confirmed and still in place and on sale, because the tickets have carried forward, is the Newcastle event, Lewis Ritson against Vasquez, etc. That's June 27. Oh, listen, I hope we'll be all right by then. But again, who knows?
Who knows? What will be the situation? I see a few people messaging about Billy Joe Saunders' fight with Canelo. I mean, I spoke to Billy the other day, and there could be a possibility that he may miss out on that fight if the timing isn't right with that.
Yeah, I mean, again, that all depends if boxing's back for the summer. Then I think just responding to someone in here who said, I've heard Dillian White's fight's cancelled and not rescheduled. That's not true. It will be rescheduled, and the date will be announced on that soon. With Billy, I mean, obviously, we've got to get over his viral video, which has upset a lot of people at the weekend, me included. I spoke to him this morning. I mean, that's another conversation. Regarding Canelo, I think that it all depends when boxing's back. I think both Canelo and Triple G would like to have a fight before they fight each other. That was their original plan. But again, it depends how far back in the year boxing begins. I think if it's July, I think Billy Joe will get that fight. I think if it starts going to September, October, November, Canelo's only going to box once this year. Maybe he chooses to have the biggest fight he can.
So when did you speak? Who did you speak to? Robert Smith from the board?
This morning, yeah. Frank spoke to Robert Smith this morning, and they'll make their own announcement. But look, you're not going to see any boxing in May.
But I suppose it's kind of, they can't really tell when it's going to be fully back either, can they?
No one
They
can.
know as much as
No one can. I
most
mean, look, I
people.
think for what it's worth, for my 10 pence worth, for just like anyone else in a pub saying about, yeah, what's going to happen is, like, this is what's going to happen. What's going to happen, in my opinion, is that hopefully in the next 3-4 weeks, we start to get on top of this. As Boris says, over the next 12 weeks, who knows? But you're going to get to a position where things are going to have to go back to normal. You know, I'm not just even talking about boxing. I'm talking about all business, all life, because we can't. I just put a post out on Twitter. Like, one of my big concerns about this whole thing is not just the economic position for the country, but actually the mental position for the country. You know, you saw, I think today, like I said, just put my tweet, I heard that the finance minister for one of the German states committed suicide because he couldn't handle
Yeah, I saw
his
that.
job and his responsibility. I mean, like, when we look at mental health and the problem that it was pre-corona, where it's going to be post-corona is 5-10 times worse, because at the moment everyone's cooped up indoors, can't really do a lot. But financially, there's going to be such a strain on people moving forward. And I think the government's done a great job of putting these different options in place and these different policies in place to help people. But it's going to be a bad situation, to be honest with you. So I think at some point, they're going to have to let people get on with their lives. Whilst we also understand right now that is not the time, because we have to listen to the government, stay indoors and try and get over it and try and bring the numbers down. But I'm really concerned. As much as I'm concerned about Corona, I'm concerned about the future as well. Sorry to get all serious on you, but you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I'm miserable. I want to go. I just want to go to work. You know? And I know they're not asking too much, are they? Stay indoors but it's like, when you're used to literally being on the go 24/7, after a couple of weeks of just sitting indoors and sort of doing the same thing, kids' homework, you know, walk the dogs. I mean, the people that have had the biggest touch out of all this are the dogs. You ain't got any dogs, have you?
No, not anymore.
Mate, mine have had it off. You know, they're getting walked every day. They're just laying on the sofa, on the back, balls hanging out. They've just had a touch.
Fair play. They're talking about this isolation period possibly running until June, which kind of, if it is till June, that kind of sets everything. If people are not allowed out of their houses until June,
Mate, I'm worried about tomorrow, let alone June.
We're not even in April yet.
I know. Listen, I think it's impossible to say, but one thing we do know is it's going to be the whole of April. That's what we do know. I mean, and we just start in April. Are we in April yet? No. Tomorrow?
No, April's on Wednesday.
Wednesday. It's going to be the whole of April.
So obviously you're talking to Tottenham and Joshua and that, and you said that you got a date there before to me in July. So that's more realistic now, isn't it? If it does come back in the summer, Joshua to fight in July now, surely.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, look, anything can happen. I don't want to get people too excited about potential Joshua Fury fights and stuff like that, but I do think that there's always a fallout from this kind of stuff, you know, that changes the landscape of a business or the sport. And I think for boxing, I think how this will change is you'll see fighters being moved into bigger fights quicker. I think that people will realise sometimes things aren't guaranteed, nothing is given. And rather than having a warm-up fight or, you know, having this one first or this little one, I think people will be looking to have bigger fights. And when we come back, we need to make sure that we make the biggest fights possible and the best shows possible, because it's going to be difficult. You know, when you come back, whether it's June, whether it's July, don't just expect the whole world to go back to normal. And,
No.
yeah, okay, we're going to go to an 80,000 show, or we're going to go to the O2 and it's 20,000. That will happen in time, but we need to get the confidence back of the fans. The momentum that we've built, and not just us, but everybody's built for boxing over the last 8-10 years, has been incredible. And it's not just boxing, but boxing will suffer in the same way, that momentum will have slowed down. You know, we won't know until we get back how much it's slowed down. People will always love boxing, but boxing was so hot. And now you're going to be in a situation where 3 months has been taken away and you haven't had that fix. So what we need to try and do is make sure that when we are back, we give you the best possible fights, the best possible product, the best possible nights out, the best possible TV programs that we can, to show you and remind you how great this sport is. And that's what we're working on at the moment. And one of the things that, you know, that's why we're doing things like this tonight. I do my IG live with our American fighters and Katie Taylor from 6 o'clock. Like, we've got a fitness program launches on Sky that we filmed recently, I think next week. We've got loads of other Chris Cooks on our IGTV program with Chris Algieri. We have to keep the fans engaged, because it's easy to forget about something. You know, it's like when you meet a young lady and you fall head over heels with them, and you want to see them every single day, and your head's gone. If you're kept away for 3 or 4 weeks, you might think to yourself, actually, you know, she's a rocket, but I'll stop there.
What, Ed, do you know, obviously not your pay-per-view shows, but some of the smaller shows, have they been discussed? I know you spoke about the 3 Mill Studios before, but have they been discussed as potential behind closed doors events, the smaller ones?
Yeah, we were going to, when we were going to go to 3 Mill Studio, which is a studio we've used in Stratford for poker events, actually. And when this all broke and we weren't sure of the severity, I don't think anyone, well, I guess the super smart people who maybe telling porkies knew how serious this would be. We were very close to doing some studio shows, and we already had him in place to go. But the biggest problem is, of course, the medical suppliers, and once the government said they weren't going to support the boxing events with the medical services, of course, everything changes. So that is something you might see come back sooner than the big major events. I mean, there's a couple of arguments. Number one is sports stars are self-employed, right? So they need to play to get paid, right? Doesn't matter whether it's darts players, snooker players, boxers. And right now, the one thing, if the government want people to stay at home, the one thing would really help with that is live sport. Right? Because right now, there are people like us just sitting at home going, oh, I mean, there's nothing. I mean, Netflix is getting smashed to pieces, but some live sport would really go down well right now. Okay? So our argument would be, whether it's darts, whether it's snooker, whether it's boxing, we can create that content behind closed doors in a safe environment. Make sure these guys are out there getting paid, and we can give you live sport at a time when you're indoors. Now is not the time, obviously, but there will come a point where perhaps the rules are relaxed a little bit, where we can say to people, we can get these guys out earning, fighting.
We can't hear you, Ed.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. We can get these guys out earning money, playing, providing entertainment for you. But obviously now's not the time, and that time will come, and that might come in 5 or 6 weeks, or it might come in 2 or 3 months. But that you may see that come before the return of the big stadium shows.
I want to talk to you about your gesture to the NHS. You announced a little while ago. Do you want to just kind of run me through that?
Yeah, so look, I think what the NHS, I think at times like this, we are a nation and a race governed by money and greed at times. We're all guilty of that sometimes. Yes, me as well, hands up. And sometimes you don't realise that when you think about the NHS, what they're doing right now. I mean, we take them for granted every day, but at times like this, where they're putting their health, their life on the line, on the front line, for what reward? You know, it's not like these people are earning hundreds of thousands a year, million, you know, and well, I'm getting a fortune, so it's a bit risky, but I'll do it. They're selflessly doing it. You know, they're doing it to provide for our country and to provide a service for the people of Great Britain. So we can never repay them for what they're doing. But what we can try and do is make life a little bit better for them. Make life easier for them, give them things to look forward to. And we have a system in place. You know about Tickets for Troops. So Tickets for Troops is something that was set up a while back for our troops, people fighting on the front line, people fighting for our country who receive tickets for some of our events. And we're basically going to replicate that for the NHS. So we'll be giving 200 tickets for every Saturday night, fight night, every pay-per-view event for the next 12 months when we're back up and running, for NHS staff to use. And there'll be a system in place. Honestly, since I've announced it, the amount of emails, direct messages, Instagram messages about how do I get these? How does and the answer will be, all the details will be announced shortly. Obviously, the beauty of it is that when you're in Newcastle, you've got to hit that region with NHS workers. When we do a show in Glasgow, same thing. When we're in Liverpool, same thing. When we're in London, etc. So we look forward to seeing them at our shows, and it's just a small gesture, really, to say thank you, because, you know, like I say, it shows really what people are made of. The fact that they're out there putting their health on the line, trying to serve, and that's what they are doing. They're serving our country. They're serving us. And right now, touch wood, they haven't been serving me or my family, but there will come a time, and it might not even be through Corona, it might be through something else, where one of these people will save one of our lives. You know, and what they're going through now, it's horrendous, you know, for these people, what they're doing. So massive respect for all members of the NHS.
Obviously, Boris Johnson's doing his kind of briefings from home after he contracted coronavirus the other day. What do you think about that? I mean,
well, so I think it's unfortunate. I think anybody. I mean, you know, you saw Anthony Yard's father passed away, which is just completely tragic.
Absolutely,
you know. And there is still that sort of probably false ideology that you can only become ill through coronavirus if you have an underlying illness, which sounds like that is the case for the majority, but clearly it's taking the lives of people who don't.
Or if you're of a certain age.
Yeah, of course. If you're a certain age, you have an underlying illness, and you contract this virus, it's very, very dangerous. But there are still people who are contracting it and passing away who don't have underlying illnesses. So yeah, look, Boris, you know, I see people like almost celebrating the fact that Boris has got corona. I mean, this is the Prime Minister of our country. Probably the best thing that he's fit and well, you know, and by the sounds of things, he hasn't got too many worrying symptoms, and apparently he's still cracking on. Great question, by the way. Really, really engaging the fans.
What?
So Eddie, with regards to Boris, I mean,
it's happening, mate. It's happened. It's the Prime Minister of the country, like you just said. So it's relevant to what we're talking about. The Prime Minister has coronavirus. I think that's relevant. Anyway, should we take some questions from people?
Yeah, sure. Do you want me to do it? Or you? I mean, one bloke says here, take a break for coronavirus. I think that's right. We've got a question coming in. There's a few people laughing at your last question.
I didn't think it was that funny, to be honest.
It's just the way you said it, really, mate, to be honest with you.
Well, what do you think about it? I don't know. What do you want me to say?
I mean, it's unfortunate, isn't it? How can I buy pay-per-view from overseas? Basically, Sky Sports own our UK rights, so every country will have a different broadcaster, particularly now globally, DAZN moving forward. Are you going to hold fights behind closed doors? We've discussed that. When's Callum Johnson fighting? Was scheduled to fight for the European title on May the 2nd. I mean, Callum Johnson's a good example of someone who was due to fight for the European title on May 2nd. Obviously, now that will be delayed. Does he fight for the European title in July, or does he fight Joshua Buatsi when we come back? You know? Because for me, that's a natural fight to make happen. But when we come back, we've got to give you the dog's bollocks, because we need to get you in. Every sport's going to be scrapping for your attention, so we need to make sure we get your attention with quality product.
I'll read one to you that flashed up. Has coronavirus affected DAZN coming to the UK?
No,
or timing of it?
I mean, it's not
Probably,
necessarily even. Yeah, only the timing, obviously, because that was. I mean, I spoke to them about it, but obviously they were going to launch May the 2nd with a global product with the Canelo fight, and that's not happening. So again, I think it's delayed. It is probably the best answer.
Will fighters get tested for COVID?
Good question. I think the answer should be yes, to be honest with you. I mean, look, if we're going to do, depends when, you know, if all sports back up and running, but particularly if we're doing this behind the doors stuff, then I think that it's important that probably not just the fighters, but maybe in time, once testing facilities are available in that kind of capacity, that staff, crew, everybody's listening. Hopefully we get to a stage in a few months where everybody can be tested.
What's the deal with your Wales show? A few people are asking.
That'll be announced soon as well. That'll be delayed. We've got a new date for July, which will be announced in our press release later today.
Okay. Someone did put on here some Dylan White breaking news on Sky Sports, but I don't know if that was serious or not. Is that
probably to announce that his show's moved?
But you can't really say it unless it has. That's what you're saying.
But it will. Listen, it will be moved, and we'll give a new date today.
Anyone got any more actual sensible questions? What happens with the mandatory challenges to fight?
That's a really good question, because there are a lot of purse bids. Like, for example, there's a purse bid due shortly, I think on Wednesday, for Demetrius Andrade and Liam Williams. Like, that's just one example of various different stuff. So that's going to be delayed. And I think right now it's going to be almost like these mandatories are frozen until everyone knows what's happening, because, you know, the governing bodies aren't in the offices. You can't fly to a purse bid. You can't give a date right now when you win a purse bid, because you don't know what date's going to be available or when you'll be allowed to stage a show. Some blokes put here, Coogan, have you been getting enough sleep?
No.
What have you been doing, mate?
Nothing. I've been trying to do phone interviews, which isn't as easy as it sounds, actually, even though everyone's at home doing fuck all. But anyway. Yeah, what?
This is a good one. Netflix recommendations.
Billy Joe's in the house, by the way.
All right.
I don't know who he's saying has put timber on. Could be you.
Well, I haven't. I think it's you, mate.
What are you weighing at the moment, Edward?
I'm an ever ready 17 stone 12.
So you have done a bit, because you was up to about 21 stone, weren't you?
Oh, look, it's Billy. Billy says you're looking big.
That's all right. Oh, look,
Shannon Briggs is on the line.
See, Joseph Parker was logged on earlier and all.
Diego Pacheco. Yeah.
You know, Ed, you do know people are going to crave some A little bit of positive impressions from you at some point.
Positive impressions.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be positive, but you know,
What? Like,
shout out some impressions. Eddie, come on, you got to do this. Everyone's. Look, Frank Smith's online.
Frank Smith, you two looking well. Mate, listen, Frank Smith. Let's go, champ. Yeah.
Carl Froch is actually quite a difficult one to do.
I can't do Carl Froch.
Do Billy Joe. He's asking you to do him.
I can't really do Billy Joe either. Can't do Fury. Can do but the problem is with the Eubank one, he's like Mike Tyson. I've never done Mike Tyson. I'm just the baddest man. I'm just the baddest man on the planet. Oh, I can do. The problem is with the Eubank one, it's really getting like Kell Brook. I can do Kell Brook.
What about your John Fury one, Ed?
John Fury. I better not do John Fury just in case.
He won't mind. He said he don't mind.
I can't really do John Fury either.
Conor McGregor. Why is he being cheeky? Ed,
Who's that?
Do John Fury. No, I was just reading one of the comments. Do John Fury.
Right. My son, Tyson, right? There's not a man on the planet that couldn't beat him. And when I see that Eddie Hearn, right, I'm going to slap him all over the place. I can't really do that one, mate.
All right. Wait there.
Do Gareth A. Davis. Okay, yeah. So Eddie, yeah. So when we talk about MMA, you know, and obviously, I mean, you and I are fucking total workaholics, total fucking workaholics.
Oh my Lord!
You can't not show your face laughing. Chris Eubank, Shannon Briggs, Frank Bruno. He's a By the way, when I do all these, don't anyone take it personally. John Fury, Ty and Booth. Can you do Ty and Booth, Cook?
Not really. Time Booth. No, not really. I'm not
Jim
really.
McDonald. Jim
What about
McDonald's
Dylan White? What about Dylan White?
Jim McDonald. Jim McDonald was my favourite. And again, Jim McDonald is my hero. Jim, obviously, big fight for James DeGale. How's he looking in camp? Well, he's looking unbelievable. I've had him out on the track Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays and Sundays. He's been doing the 400, 800, 1500. He's been doing 3 times 3 sessions with 20 seconds breaks in between. 4 laps, 6 laps, 8 laps. Guess how many laps he's up to now? Guess how many laps?
How many?
You guess how many laps?
20.
More than 20, mate. The 15-round fighter. He's a machine. He's here to win this fight. I said, there's nothing like James. When he's on it, he's on it.
Someone said Scott Fitz. I think it was Shannon.
Scott Fitz. Yeah, Eddie, right? Eddie, let me tell you, yeah? See Fowler, he's going in 6. He's getting battered.
Can you do Trump?
Trump. You asked me why do I keep calling it the Chinese virus? Okay.
Mr. President, sir, why do you keep referring to it as the Chinese virus?
So, simple answer. It's from China. It's from China. It's Chinese. Okay? So, this disease, it's from China. It's from China. China.
Can you actually do Boris?
And the country is... The time has now come for us to
unite and to move forward together and to make sure that we do self-isolate and we do all of a sudden come together to fight this together. Not really.
That was actually pretty good.
Thanks, mate.
The last two were actually pretty good. They're new ones as well.
Someone goes, Donald Trump's America, not from Thailand.
Yeah, I would like to point out no one's taking
Richard Schaefer's still my favourite, but he really don't like it. Hello, you know, this is a great card, great show. We have why, mate? You've got to show your face. Why are you worrying about laughing about things?
I'm not.
You think it's great, isn't it? You're asking me to do them, right? So I upset everyone, but you're not allowed to laugh because
No, I am.
you
I
upset
find them
them.
all funny. Listen, I find them all funny. Wait.
This is one of the best cards we have put on to date. It has 12 fights on the card, 3 championship events, and 4 rounders at the bottom. Listen, whatever you're doing, wherever you are, get your popcorn ready and look forward to a great show.
Can you do some women now, right? I'm going to list some women for you to do. Can you do Katie Taylor?
If she's watching, she's doing Instagram live with me, like, okay, Katie. I'm here to create history, you know, set records and, you know, go out there and give my best to the sport. You know, I just want to thank everybody. I'm here to make history, you know, thank you. That was it, really. Not very
Michelle
good.
Phelps.
Michelle, we love you.
Someone
Hey,
said,
fans. Okay, so we're here to...
someone said Shannon Courtney.
Shannon Courtney. Not really sure there is one for Shannon.
Frank Bruno.
Frank Bruno. You know what I mean, Coogan? Because, you know, like, you know what I mean? When we come out, like, I'm just, Coogan, I think what you're doing at the moment is unbelievable. Not really.
You've tried a few new ones. Joshua, you can't really do Joshua, can you?
He hasn't really got one, has he? You know what? Yeah, I'm baffled. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm just gonna keep. Nah, I can't really do that one.
So look, Dana White.
Tyson Fury, can't really do Tyson Fury. David Diamante.
Kell Brook one's all right. Your Kell Brook.
Kell Brook, yeah. Kell Brook's got Eddie, yeah. Terence Crawford. Call it. I'm telling you, right? Overrated. Yeah. When I get him in the ring and I hit him with the chocolate brownie down pipe, yeah. End of story. Overrated. Supposed to be a pound for pound great. Get him in with a special one, baby.
What about Chisora? Can you do Chisora?
Chisora. Not really. I struggle with Londoners, really.
Well, he said Froch.
Halifax Howard.
Remember him? All right, Edward. I'm sure you've got more important things to be doing.
Oh yeah, mate. I'm absolutely. That's Chisora. Chisora's on.
Go on, do it. You got to do it now.
Lucky I didn't do it. No, because listen, yeah. The thing is, if he steps to me, yeah, then I'm just warning you. Yeah, I'm taking him out. It doesn't matter if it's in the ring or if it's now. I'm just warning you. Yeah, I am telling you now. I am the baddest man on the fucking and then table and all that sort of stuff. You
know. Derek,
yeah, I've got a better shoot soon, mate, because I'm absolutely snowed under at the minute. So,
Michael Buffer.
Hey, hey, Eddie, how are you? Yes, good. Ladies and gentlemen, for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching us around the world, let's get ready to rumble! Is
anyone out there?
Usyk.
My head's falling off now.
Usyk.
Usyk. He don't really say anything, does he?
No, just looks.
So, yeah.
Oh, Chisora approved of your.
Thanks, mate. Cheers, Del Boy.
Your thing.
Yeah. All right, people. Maybe we'll catch up later in the week for some more.
All right, Edward, we'll let you crack on.
Thank you. I want to say to everyone, stay safe, crack on, listen to what people say, look after yourself, get out when you can to do your exercise, very important, get some fresh air, boost your immune system, eat well, but stay positive, keep thinking, because we will be back and we will be booming soon as a country.
Eddie Hearn, thank you very much for talking to me and the viewers today. We'll get this up on YouTube so whoever missed it can watch it. And
Right,
keep yourself safe.
cheers, guys. Take care.
All right. Cheers, Edward.